Hi, and welcome to week three. This is the final week. We're already here, the final week of the mini mester, and I know it's been a whole lot of work, but thank you for working diligently and finding success. I see a lot of people having really uh, good levels of success in this mini mester. That's exciting. I know the mini mester probably this format is not for everybody, but for those that do stick with it, it is an opportunity to knock out some credits fairly quickly. And like I said, we're almost done. So I want to talk about this week, this third week. There are some things to keep in mind during this third week. And I'm going to talk to you about how to make this week as easy as possible. So let's go ahead and look at the week. This week, of course, finishes up on January 5th, and that will complete our course. So I want to talk about what's ahead of us, weekly modules. Um, it's going to look much like the rest of the previous weeks. And you'll notice in weekly modules that the discussion forum is on Elizabethan theater. It's a really interesting forum, I think. I hope you enjoy spending some time with that. I know everybody's ready to be done, but there's still some things that I think you'll find some interest in. Annotated bibliography, that's a bit of a project. I'm going to talk about that in the next video, but that's due. A research paper is due. Both the annotated bibliography and the research paper work hand in hand. This time it's over a real world topic. I'll talk about that in just a second as well. One more lab, you can go ahead and knock that out. And then a test over poetry and drama, same test, same format. If you have a study guide or you fill out the study guide, you should be able to use your study guide to effectively deal with this test. I think everybody's pretty comfortable with the test process. And then one other thing has to be completed by 11 p.m. on a Friday the 5th, and that is also your final exam. Your final exam is here, and you can see that it will be available as of January 1st at 7 a.m. So you can take it anytime between January 1st and 11 p.m. on January 5th. I can't extend the final exam past that point, so it's really important that you stay on top of your due dates. Remember, your test over poetry and your final exam are due. So here's some things to keep in mind about the final exam. No new questions. It's just like all the other tests. It is comprehensive. So if you have all your study guides and you filled out all your study guides, you can have those out with you, and you should find this pretty comfortable if you've done really well along the way. And like I said, I try not to make my test too difficult, but if you've done well on your test, then you should find that this is a pretty accessible final exam. It's all multiple choice, no new questions. It's just a combination of all the other three previous tests. And you can, of course, use your notes, you can use your study guide, and you can use any other materials that you find necessary to complete that test. So good luck with that. That is all that we have left. It's still a lot, but I think that you have time as long as you're managing your time. And here's some pointers about week three. So in week three, we're talking about drama and poetry. If you head over to PowerPoints, my suggestion to help you manage your time for this week is to focus on the annotated bibliography and the essay because they are the larger point values. Instead of necessarily spending time trying to read Hamlet or any of the other material, I would suggest that you just simply take some time and go through each of these PowerPoints that are here. Intro to poetry, poetry number 2. It's going to discuss various types of poetry. Pay careful attention to the various different types of poetry. Then, much in the same fashion, intro to drama talks about the history of drama, where it came from. We're going to focus on Shakespeare's theater. So there's a PowerPoint on the basics of Shakespeare's theater. What was it like? How was it different than modern theater? And then there is 2 PowerPoints on Hamlet. One of them is literally a summary, act by act, scene by scene, of what goes on in Hamlet. So pay attention to that, the basic storyline. And then the second PowerPoint repeats a couple of things, but really just focuses on major themes and other literary elements that are part of Hamlet. So if you'll go through the PowerPoints, you're probably fine. Don't try to necessarily sit there and read Hamlet as well. I think I only assigned the first act, but I wouldn't spend a lot of time with that. I would just spend my time working on that. Like I said, the annotated bibliography, the final essay, go through the PowerPoints, fill out your study guide as you go through. Use your study guide on both the exam on poetry and drama, and then on the final exam. And that should be sufficient for getting through this week. So everybody, right now, it looks like you're doing really well. Your discussion posts are on point. Some interesting points brought up. I try to comment on those when I can. But again, if you have any questions about this week and finishing up, please email me. Remember that your test over poetry and drama and the final exam, plus everything else that you need to have turned in, must be complete by 11 p.m. That's 11 p.m. on January the 5th, and that's the final day of coursework for this particular course. So I wish you luck, and that concludes the content of this very short video.